Thursday, July 7th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I'm meteorologist Matthew East here with you, and not a lot of change today compared to what we saw yesterday. More scattered thunderstorms are on the way, and probably a pretty healthy round of showers and storms late Friday into Friday night before we get into some weather changes over the upcoming weekend. Also, I'll talk a little bit about the tropics here as we get later on into today's edition of the video. Let's go to the severe weather reports from yesterday, and not a whole lot of them here in our region, but there were some, mainly of the wind damage variety. The biggest cluster of severe weather yesterday was way up in the northeast, parts of New York into Vermont, New Hampshire, even Maine, with a good clustering of wind reports yesterday. There's the radar this morning. All is quiet across our region. There are some lingering storms this morning offshore by 50 miles or so. Also, a healthy round of rain and storms rolling through southeastern parts of Nebraska and Kansas, and also eastern Arkansas, seeing some pretty big thunderstorms this morning. Those Arkansas storms dropping a little bit east of due south. And there's the temperature scheme across the lower 48 this morning. It's upper 60s and low 70s for much of the Piedmont this morning. Quite muggy still, and there's that heat still going on. And especially Texas and Oklahoma, some readings still above 80 degrees at this early morning hour. And another day of triple-digit heat coming from many of those areas from Oklahoma into portions of Texas. There's the upper air pattern for today, ridging centered over the desert southwest into the southern plains. And notice, here comes our disturbance for tomorrow. Pretty well defined here, moving through Iowa and Missouri. And then as we get into the day tomorrow, that disturbance approaches our region. And, it's not the strongest disturbance you've ever seen, but when you have the air masses warm and relatively unstable and muggy as we have, then the result's going to be probably a pretty good round of showers and storms, and that's the day two. That'd be Friday and Friday night. Severe weather outlook, slight risk for a good chunk of North Carolina, Virginia, up into the Delmarva Peninsula. Now let's go beyond. Look what happens by Sunday. Now this is the European upper air chart. Sunday you begin to see the ridging take hold over the southeastern part of the country, and that looks to just really kind of strengthen next week overall. There's Tuesday evening on the European, and look what happens all the way out here at Saturday week, the 16th of July. That's a 597 decameter ridge centered over the plains. That's ugly. And if that were to verify, and the GFS is largely on board with this general scenario, that'd be some pretty ugly heat in a lot of places. So maybe a pretty substantial wave of heat is a possibility from, say, roughly the 14th to the 15th through the 20th or so from the plains, maybe into parts of the lower Mississippi Valley into the southeast. So we'll see. Okay, here we go with the day-by-day charts. This is the GFS. This afternoon, I expect a scattering of showers and thunderstorms out there. A couple storms could be severe, and there could be some localized flash flooding issues once again. Then as that little upper-level energy approaches tomorrow, I think tomorrow and tomorrow night, a good round of showers and storms moves on through. But then we get into some drier air over the weekend. As the weak front slides to the south, some drier air works in from the north. So probably for the triad, Saturday is a dry day. Maybe a few lingering storms for Raleigh and Charlotte over to the coast, especially toward the coast. But then Sunday looks mainly dry. Again, it could be a couple storms closer to the coast, but most of the Piedmont zones of North Carolina with a dry Sunday and probably a dry Monday as well. And the heat will begin to build. Sunday, at least lower 90s for highs, probably a lot of mid-90s Monday and Tuesday. And then we see a weak front approaching from the north on Tuesday. That's Tuesday, and then finally here's Wednesday. That front moves in, and probably a decent shower and storm chance again, especially around Wednesday of next week. There'll be some around probably Tuesday as well. Now in the tropics here, we had that broad area of shower and thunderstorm activity from Cuba and parts of the Florida Keys and the western Bahamas. Absolutely zero sign of that organizing. That's going to bring some pretty heavy tropical downpours to parts of Florida as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours. But I want to show you this. The Canadian, you can always count on the Canadian for doing some wild developments in the tropics, and this is what it puts out there at 42 hours. It actually spawns a tropical type low in the northeastern Gulf that then lifts up the Carolina coast by 84 hours. Again, that's probably not going to happen, but I just wanted to show you that. It's kind of interesting to see. Again, the Canadian always almost always is the model that'll get you some pretty wild-looking developments in the tropics. A lot of times that simply doesn't happen, though. But we'll watch that area down around Cuba and the Bahamas. I don't think it really is going to have a chance to develop into a tropical system, but for Florida, it enhances the rain chance and could enhance the rain chance for the Carolina coast as we get later on into this weekend as well. Okay, that is it for today's edition of the video. Thank you for watching. Have a great Thursday, and God bless.